This is Colin O'Keefe here for LXBN TV. 2015 was a big year for the EEOC and for the employers it regulates. Joining me to reflect on the year that was is one of the top EEOC lawyers in the country. That is Jerry Maatman, friend of the program, of course. He's at Seyfarth Shaw, and he's author on their workplace class action blog. Jerry, you recently highlighted some of the biggest cases for the EEOC with regards to their litigation in 2015. What really stands out to you as some of the biggest pieces of litigation, or some of the biggest cases that they had in 2015?
Thanks, Colin. I think there were two Supreme Court cases and a Ninth Circuit case. There was the Mock Mining and Abercrombie and Fitch cases out of the Supreme Court. They answered some significant questions, and one could be read as a pro-employer decision, the other as a pro-EEOC or pro-employee decision. And then the practical nuts and bolts decision, EEOC versus McLean out of the Ninth Circuit, which very broadly construed the power of the government to conduct administrative investigations and to get data from employees on a nationwide basis whenever it conducts investigations of a company and allegations of discrimination. So I think the 1-2 punch out of the Supreme Court plus the Ninth Circuit case are the ones that most employers are talking about.
Absolutely, of course. I know Abercrombie was absolutely huge, and then there were those other two as well. And I know that you have the annual 2015 EEOC litigation report coming out from you and from Seyfarth. People can order it online now. Tell me a little bit about the findings that you have in there. What are the most interesting nuggets that you can pass along?
Well, I think first an employer should realize that not unlike real estate, location is everything. And although the EEOC sitting in Washington, D.C. may publicize what its initiatives are, case selection, case filings are decided locally by regional trial attorneys. So we did a study of various industries and various types of cases and saw that around the country, not all EEOC regional attorneys act alike. And so if you're an employer and you have operations in various parts of the country, there may be an ADA focus, for instance, out of the Philadelphia region. There may be a systemic case focus out of the Chicago and Phoenix offices, and there may be a national origin or vulnerable worker focus in the Los Angeles and San Francisco offices of the EEOC. So location drives many of the case filings and types of cases. The second thing or takeaway was the EEOC was more aggressive and active this year, spiked higher settlements than last year, and overall its track record of success, if you measure success by verdicts, settlements, and monetary recoveries, the EEOC had a good year and it was up. I think the third takeaway and the most important is look for a big decision in 2016. In the waning days of the calendar year, right around Christmas time, the Supreme Court accepted for review a very famous case called EEOC versus CRST. It was the largest monetary fee award ever entered against the government to the tune of $4.7 million. It was reversed on appeal, and now the Supreme Court sometime in 2016 will decide how should the EEOC enforce the statute and carry out its systemic litigation program. And as some detractors from the commission may have said, that it abused its power in essence, filing a lawsuit first and then fishing for claimants rather than investigating a charge, identifying claimants, trying to conciliate it, and only as a last resort suing. So I think 2016 is going to be another big year for the EEOC and for employers, and I would watch that Supreme Court case as having a very large impact on the way the EEOC does its business.
Absolutely. I know that's one based on what I've seen that employers are going to have their eye on, because I know their lawyers have their eye on it just as you do. So it was a big year at the Supreme Court for the EEOC in 2015, and it looks like 2016 may just be the same. Once again, that was Jerry Maatman of Seyfarth Shaw. For more of his insight on this subject and to find the report as well, be sure to visit workplaceclassaction.com. Thank you for joining me today, Jerry.
Thank you, Colin.